Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Tuesday, January 1st, 2019. New Year's Day over here in the United States, and it's 3:59 p.m. Pacific time. I hope everyone had a safe New Year's and that you're preparing yourself for what's coming up this year. I will continue to bring these reports, hopefully on a daily basis. I might not be able to do it every single day. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try and make it shorter tonight so that people can get on with their days and I can get a little more rest. So, the first thing I'm going to show you is I've got CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services, pulled up here, and the PDF version of sulfur dioxide for the whole globe. And this is total column, sulfur dioxide. It tells up here from Tuesday, January 1st. So it's today's output worldwide, and so you can see the sulfur dioxide levels around the world, how it's getting higher and higher, and I do believe this is tearing up the ozone layer. And also down here, we don't look down here very often, but right down here, I've shown this in past videos, that there's a constant sulfur dioxide release from Antarctica from Mount Erebus. It's on the edge of the Ross Sea. So there's something going off all the time. There's still high sulfur dioxide levels down here as a result of Krakatoa. And up here we had some earthquakes. What you're going to see today is a whole ring of earthquakes that have come across this region. So sulfur dioxide was coming up from these areas even in the last few days if you look back through CAMS. And then China is quite red as well. I'm not sure if that's strictly from industrial civilization or if there are some earthquakes over there that are not being picked up by USGS. And I did watch Dutch Sense's report this morning, and he talked about Russia having a whole bunch of earthquakes that are not being reported by USGS. Now, I don't have the time and the energy to go search them down to all these different sources like he does. Of course, that's what he does. And, you know, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not even monetized. I'm just doing this because I've been directed to do this by God to show people how close we are, and closer every day in these end times, to try and help them that if they haven't made a decision yet spiritually, that they need to do it now before it's too late. So we can also see the sulfur dioxide levels rising in the Arctic. When you're coming on up into the cream color, that's 2 parts per million. Then the gold is 5. Then the brown gold is 10. The tan colored is 20 parts per million, and then red is 50, and then this brick red is between 100 and 999 parts per million. So we have stuff going off all around the world. And I also have ozone levels pulled up worldwide for today. And this is total column. And what we're seeing here is, let me go back down so it'll all fit on the screen. I showed you last time a couple of days ago when I showed ozone, this hole that's growing over the Pacific Ocean on the west side, and now it's getting bigger. See, it's extended over onto this other side of the map, and this is Hawaii over here. And I do believe that this is as a result of the higher levels of sulfur dioxide being released into the atmosphere, and it's eating it up. And then we have the aqua color. So this purplish color is 200 Dobson units. Then the aqua color is 220. Then this greenish color is 240 Dobson units. And then this chartreuse is 260. And then this more yellowy is 280. And finally, when we hit the yellow, that's 300 Dobson units. And that's still quite thin. And so that's where we are with ozone. So I'm going to leave this as a backdrop for my other things I pull up. And next I'd like to go over some of the comments that came in from my video last night. I covered earthquakes, did a whole earthquake report, and then I covered the state of the Arctic sea ice and the Antarctic sea ice, and I covered methane in the Arctic as well. So it was a more extended report. So Dave Alcock, my friend from the UK, says, "Hi Margo, look at Australia now, and we've got all that methane waiting for us for our summer." So he's talking about the heat that Australia's experiencing, and if people haven't been watching the news about the heat, they've got awful heat down there right now, and everything's drying up, and I mean they're setting records, and it's all the way through the continent. And so I said, yes, I know, Dave, rough times are ahead, and it's their summer right now. And as we go through our winter in the northern hemisphere and come into spring and into summer, then Australia will be going into its fall and winter. So that's how that goes. And then Gray Silverback said, "Thanks for the update, Margo." You're welcome, Gray Silverback. Thanks for being here. D. Drake says, "Thank you, Margo, for your perseverance and dedication." Thank you, D. Sometimes it gets a bit trying, but I'm going to try. Cliff Curtin says, "Thanks, Margo. Happy New Year." Thanks, Cliff. Thanks for being here. Jay Bird, another one of my friends. "Nice job, Margo. Very interesting." Thank you, Jay Bird. I appreciate that. Phosphorus 72 says, "Thanks for the update, Margo. Very thorough and comprehensive as usual, and Happy New Year to you." Thank you, Phosphorus 72. I appreciate you being here. And then Robin Westenra, Seymour Rocks 97, says, "This is stunning work, and the perseverance stands out. We do our best. Don't listen to the haters." And I say thank you, Robin, right back at you. And then Freedom Fighter 2 left this comment. It just came in about an hour ago. He said, "On the last day of December 2018, according to Worldometer's real-time world statistics, we reached 40 billion tons of CO2 in the atmosphere for the year." So if anyone says it was less, you will know that they are trying to play down the numbers. Thanks for the Arctic report. Thank you for that CO2 report, Freedom Fighter 2. So we'll remember that 40 billion tons of CO2 in the atmosphere for this year. That's high, and it's not going down, no matter what they're doing, no matter, what kind of taxes they put on or how they change the energy sources, it's just going higher. So You know, I just think it's the end. And so there's that. So now let's get right into our earthquake report. And so we're looking at USGS 1 day all magnitudes. So this is for the last 24 hours, and the number is way down. It says 136 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. But as I've pointed out, I think that a lot of the things that are making earthquakes, or the agencies or whatever, that the earthquakes go down on holidays because they're not at work. And so we'll probably see an uptick tomorrow, or maybe even later on tonight as people are going back to work. So that's okay. We've got plenty to look at. So now I'm going to hop over to 1 day magnitude 2.5 magnitude and higher, and just to get around the world, and then when we get over to the US I'll come back to all magnitudes. So I'd like to start over here, and first it's showing 36 earthquakes, and notice the increase of earthquakes through the Mediterranean, and then through Turkey, and here's Saudi Arabia, and then here's one right north of India, and then Indonesia got hit extremely over the last 24 hours. And it's we're going to look at these, and these are big. These are in the 4s and 5s, and it's consistent, and we're seeing patterns and lines in these. So let's just zoom in. So I'll get Indonesia off the map here so we don't see those. So we had most recently a 4.2 in Italy, and that was 16 kilometers deep. That happened at 10:37 this morning. I think I was watching Dutch Sense when that happened. It was way downgraded. I think it was originally a 4.8. He talked all about the downgrading and this and that. So if anyone wants a very detailed report about earthquakes and forecasting, I recommend going over to his channel, because I don't really do the forecasting. I mix in some climate change with the earthquakes now, so I'm just reporting so that you can see very simply where they are on the map too. Here was a 4.1 74 kilometers south of Latakia, Greece, 10 kilometers deep. That area has been active. It's been getting a lot of earthquakes. Now here's a 4.8 at Palaia Chora, Greece, 10 kilometers deep. Let's zoom in a little bit. Now we can see that that was in the Mediterranean Sea, as this other one was, and it's on a plate line. It's right on that red line. Here's the one that happened in Italy. It happened on land. That was the 4.2. That would be enough to cause damage if it happened near a populated area. Here we had one in Turkey of 4.1, 10 kilometers deep. Here's this one in Iran that had a 4.5, 10 kilometers deep. So this one in Turkey was right at the end of this red line. This one in Iran was directly south of the red line. So this one in India, well, when When you zoom in, it's not India. When you zoom out, it looks like it's like right near India. This was in Afghanistan. It looks like it was a 4.2 deep earthquake, 234 kilometers deep. That happened at 7:41 this morning, Pacific time. And now down here in Indonesia and the Philippines area, they've just had a bunch. I didn't want to go that far in. Okay, let's just go around. This was a 4.9 at Banda Aceh, Indonesia, 40 kilometers deep. Here we had a 5.2 at Muara Siberut, Indonesia, 31 kilometers deep. We can see these are in the ocean. I looked, and apparently there was not a tsunami produced with that. Here's one at 4.4 south of Setotok, Indonesia, 10 kilometers deep. Here's one at 5.0 at Habibola, Indonesia, 70 kilometers deep. Then up here, 4.3 at Pandagitan, Philippines, 76 kilometers deep. Here's 4.6 at Aurora, Philippines, 43 kilometers deep. Actually there were two down here at Pandagutan, sorry about that. So we had a 4.1 and a 4.6 right here. And let's see. Oh, 4.3. Okay, that's a 4.3 and a 4.6. Pretty much at the same place. Then we saw this one at Aurora, Philippines. This one was on land of 4.6, 43 kilometers deep. That's big enough to cause damage. So, or a lot of shaking. People would definitely feel that, especially depending on the kind of structure. Here we had a 4.4 at Rota, Northern Mariana Islands, 189 kilometers deep. Then down here, 4.8 at Nudoi Island, Fiji, very deep, 477 kilometers deep. Now that will cause shaking of the other tectonic plates around the world, with it being that deep. So, did I show you this one? Yes, I showed you that one. I thought there was some over here in Japan. They might have fallen off the map by now. So, there's that. Then there was a 4.3 at Guanaja, Honduras, 10 kilometers deep. And then over here at the Dominican Republic, we had 6. I'm going to hop over to the all magnitudes for the Dominican Republic to look at. We had 8 all magnitudes over here, and we had 3.4 right here at La Romana, Dominican Republic, 118 kilometers deep. We had some 2s. Here's a 2.9 on Puerto Rico. Here's a 3.3 at Roadtown, British Virgin Islands, 50 kilometers deep. So these were there was a 1.7, 1.9, and then up into the 2s and into the 3s. So those are getting higher in magnitude now, as we're seeing. Now I'm going over to Hawaii to see what we've got. We've got 7 being reported on the mainland from a 1.7 up to 2.6 is the highest that happened at Volcano, Hawaii. So those aren't big enough to cause damage. It's just showing that there's still movement going. Let's go up to Alaska next. Alaska has had some significant earthquakes. I'm going back up to my 2.5 and higher magnitudes first of all to look at Alaska. There were 9 that were registered on USGS that were 2.5 and higher. First of all, there was a 5.0 at Anchorage that was last night at 7:03 p.m. So it was after my report last night or yesterday that this came in, 43 kilometers deep. And they had, of course, that's in that area where the big 7 point whatever it was happened a few weeks ago. And there are lots of aftershocks, and it's still swarming up there. I'll show you the little ones in a minute. But in this Anchorage area, we've got a 3.7, 2.8, 2.8, and then the 5.0, and then a 2.5. So, and then down here, we have a line of earthquakes. It's just this straight line coming across. There was a 3.1 at Chignik Lake, Alaska last night, 35 kilometers deep. There was a 3.4 at Chiricahua Island, Alaska, 28 kilometers deep. And 3.9 at Kodiak, Alaska, that was 6.9 kilometers deep. So what I'm showing you is that the earthquakes are getting larger in magnitude up here than what we've been seeing for a while. There's a 2.8 in Katovik, Alaska, 17 kilometers deep. Now, let's go to our all magnitudes to finish up Alaska, and then we'll come back down into the United States. So we've got for Alaska 35 total. So the number has gone way down. The number of earthquakes has gone way down. In fact, that's below their average. They average 50 to 100 a day. So for all magnitudes in the last 24 hours, to see 35, that's low, but they're bigger. They're if I'm scrolling through, and most of these are in the 2s and into the 3s, and then there's the 5.0 at Anchorage. Here, there's a few that are in the 1s, and here's a 0.9. Here's a 1.9 Big Lake, and so forth. Then in the 2s, and 1.8. 2.5 Whittier, and so forth. So if we zoom in to this Anchorage area, you can see that the earthquakes are not really all piled up on top of each other. Stacked is how Dutch Sense says it. There are 24 in the view here, including this one up here, so 23 right down here. So they are becoming less, but we did have this big 5.0 over here at 7:03 last night. So there's that. Now let's come on down to the United States, there was one right here in the New Madrid Fault area, the seismic area. It was a 1.8 at Jackson, Missouri, that came in last night, 11 kilometers deep. Then up here in the Yellowstone region, we're seeing 3. Here's a 1.7 in Challis, Idaho, 1.0 Seeley Lake, Montana, right up here, and a 1.1 at Lincoln, Montana. So those are small, but they're still in that area. Then there was one right here on the border, just on the other side of the border from Utah into Arizona, right in the corner at Beaver Dam, Arizona. It was a 2.3 magnitude. And now looking at Nevada, let's start down here in the southern end. Okay, we had 1.1 down here at Summerlin South. We saw the Beaver Dam, 0.3 at Beatty. And the fact that there are no others right down here in that Area 51 and the Nevada test site, they're on vacation. They're on holiday. That's my theory. We're going to see more over there tomorrow. You wait and see. Then up here in the Hawthorne area, there was a 1.3, and we'll come on up to the Reno area. See how quiet it is in Carson City and Reno. Here's one just north of Lake Tahoe at Tahoe Vista, or they're calling it Truckee here. A 0.3 at 10 kilometers deep. Then here's one up here at East Quincy, a 1.4. None over here at Pyramid Lake. So it's just quiet, like we saw on Christmas Day. Everything was really quiet, and then it picked back up the next day. So let's come on down this right side of California, and here we have in the map zone, okay, we saw Hawthorne. Here's a 1.1 at Mammoth Lakes, 1.6 Mariposa, 1.3 Lone Pine down here, way down here, 0.8 at Mammoth Lakes, and a 1.1 at Mammoth Lakes. So there's that. Let's go on down. Here's 1.1 Parkfield, California, right on this red line, the San Andreas Fault line. Here we're heading down into the Los Angeles area. So this is an active region. We're seeing more actually in the, oh, look at this Rancho Cucamonga has some. So, and then here's one right down on the border, a 1.8 at Heber, California. Let's do a little zoom in here, and we'll see. Here's where they're stacked up over here at Kauai. There's 23 in our viewing area here, including this one at Borrego Springs, and a 1.2 at Borrego Springs, and 1.4 at Salton City, right next to the Salton Sea. So look at those that are all stacked up at Kauai. They're small, but eventually they add up. They're little. They're under 1 and into the ones. They're 19 right there. So now let's back out a tiny bit. And did we see these? Idlewild, 1.4 Idlewild, 0.8 Idlewild, and a 1.3 Idlewild. Here's a 1.0 at Valle Vista. Valle Vista. So we saw those. Aguanga. Okay, that where it says Aguanga, that's where the Cahuilla volcanoes were. Henshaw. I'm not seeing. Okay, that one's right down here. Henshaw. It's right on this little lake. Lake Henshaw. It's actually in the lake. 0.8, 9 kilometers deep. Right by a road. So let's come on up. We saw that 1.5 at Loma Linda, 1.0 Morena Valley. Here's a cluster here, or 1.2 at Muscoy, 2.5 Muscoy, and a 1.3 at Devore. So something was going on at Muscoy, it looks like. So let's come on up, back out. Here's a 1.1 at Parkfield. And here's one right on the beach, a 2.2 at Lopez Point. I mean, it's like right, you can see, it's like, well, it's to the right of the highway there. So, there's that, 2.2. Here's a 1.4 at Pinnacles. This red one just came in. 2.6 at Juan Bautista. See if there's more than one there. Nope, just one. Juan Bautista. San Juan Bautista. Now we're up to San Jose. Here's one in the San Francisco area. A 2.3 at San Pablo. And 1.6 at Dublin, California. Here's a new one that just came in at Santa Rosa, a 1.5. Here's the geysers. Let's look at these. We have 13 here today. See, here's a 2.3. That was the last one that came in. And it looks like that was the largest one, and the others are between or under ones or in the ones range. So 2.3 is the biggest one there at the geysers. And let's see if there's anything else. Here's one, 3.4 at Willow Creek. That's sizable. That would be enough that you could feel that if you were nearby. 20 kilometers deep. So let's see if there's anything I missed coming up the coast. I think that's it. See if anything else of significance came in while we were reporting here today. We've got some up here in Alaska. Let's just go down the line what we've gotten in. Here's a 1.6 at Badger, 2.2 at Anchorage. Here's that 2.6 at San Juan Bautista, 2.0 on Hawaii, 0.5 Aguanga, California, 1.5 Santa Rosa. Okay, we saw those. We saw all of those. So I think that's all I had for everyone today. So as we're heading into this new year, I'd like for everyone to think about, how they're gonna deal with the changes that are coming up, and and I encourage people to replace fear with faith. And you got to have faith in something, and that's different than hope. So you want to think about those things. And I love you all, and I really do think time is very short, and we do need to get our spiritual houses in order before it's too late. And instead of saying Happy New Year, because I'm usually not very happy, let's have an insightful new year, and that we can gain discernment so that we can look beyond the surface and ask the deeper questions. And when you ask the deeper questions and you go within, there is a part of you that will help you find those answers. And the answers are not outside, they're inside. And everything of this world is a distraction. Even the earthquakes are a distraction. Even the showing the methane and the sulfur dioxide and the ozone, and looking at the sea ice, and looking at the CO2, and it's all a distraction. And it really doesn't matter. What matters is what's on the inside and what your heart is. And are you right with God? And have you finished up your relationships? Have you let go of your grudges and opened up your heart for love and peace and understanding, and the peace, the deep peace that goes beyond all comprehension? So I invite you to think about these things as we move into these very perilous days that are ahead. And as long as I'm here and I'm able to, I will continue with my shows of different kinds, so don't expect it to be the same every day. And I love all of you, and until next time, go in peace, and God bless, and goodbye.